What's up? J Street Moto here. Welcome back to the channel. So as you can tell, we're in the garage today. So welcome to the J Street Moto garage. Please ignore the mess. I know I had cleaned it up for one of the videos, and then well, we had to have a lot of construction done inside of our house, so it just trashed. All of it kind of threw up out here. So and it hasn't had a chance to get cleaned up yet. So let me give you a little background on this video. I literally just landed back in, well, where we live in Huntersville, or in Charlotte, from Dublin about 2 hours ago, maybe an hour and a half ago. We had flown over there for the weekend to see a concert. So it was me, David, his wife, my wife, and a friend of ours. We all went over there together for a long weekend and saw that concert. It was really cool, but it meant that I wasn't riding this past weekend. Another quick update: I am not using the Akaso to video this video today, and the reason for that is I'm trying out the new camera that I bought, which is a Insta360 X2. Yeah, so it's one of those 360-degree cameras. I told y'all I was thinking about getting one, ended up getting one. And I did take a ride with the camera on the bike. Now, with that said, it's going to require me, it's going to take a little bit of time for me to get used to how to do the post-production work with this camera. So I decided I would use the camera instead in a non-360 way to review this guy right here, the Ciro Perch Mount. And it comes in chrome as well as black. I bought it on Amazon, so I'll have the link down in the description, or you know, in the probably in the description. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this mount. There is a story that goes with it, and hopefully, you know, you guys find the story entertaining. I don't think enough people talk about what they're using here, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I think a lot of folks, they're wanting something, and I might be speaking out of turn here, but I get the feeling from some of the stuff that I see on people's bikes, I get the feeling that they're concerned more with what it looks like when the phone's not on the bike. You know, how concealed is it? How hidden is it? And so they tend to swerve away from something like this, which if you can see, this thing is, I mean, it's big and beefy. It really is. Now, Ciro makes a version of this that also has that wireless charging capability built into it. It's a little bit more expensive, and that one also comes in chrome. It's a little bit more expensive, but I figured since I'm running the cable from my speaker to charge my phone, that, well, I'll just run the cable straight into the phone. That way, this cable here will go bad. This is the third one that I've put on the bike based on the amount of riding that I do, because it wears out over time. They don't last forever. And I didn't, for me, it's you know, I was just like, well, why, if I'm gonna have to run a new cable, why not just plug in the phone directly and not worry about getting the one that wires to the bike to charge, you know, through the wireless charging. The other reason I don't want to do that is, you know, I don't know what your experience is with those, but when it gets really hot, and we do ride in some pretty hot climates down here, that wireless charging thing also heats the phone up. And I've got an iPhone, and iPhones tend to have a problem where they decide just to turn off if they get too hot. If you've got an iPhone and you've ever been to the beach and you've left it sitting out in the sun, you know this to be true. So that's another reason that I went with this guy instead of the wireless one. Now, let's talk about this mount. It attaches with 2 bolts that they provide to you. If you buy the Perch Mount one, it attaches with 2 bolts they provide to you and spacers that go direct. They replace the bolts that are holding your, basically the clamshell on one side and your fluid reservoir for either the brake or the clutch, depending on what side. I went with the left side on mine instead of the right, mainly because that's where the power source was. It was on the left. So yeah, it comes with the bolts, the spacers, this piece here, this bracket back here that's a little ball joint. These are adjustable in terms of, I can rotate this one way or the other. And then the mount itself. Now, here's what I will tell you about this mount. If you've watched any of the cross-country trip videos, from the last one that we did in 2022, you'll know that both Juan and David had phones come off of their motorcycles while we were running down the road at about 80 miles an hour. Unfortunately, the phones survived because, we have protective case on the outside of them. We've got the zag glass on them to keep it from shattering the screen, all that kind of stuff. The style I'm talking about is the ones that you basically mount a disc that's a really strong magnet. You put something on the back of your phone case or whatever, and the magnet's supposed to hold the phone on your motorcycle. So here's the story for this one. In late 2020, I installed these handlebars, the KST Custom Renegades. In late 2020, I received as a gift this speaker and attached it to the handlebars. Getting this speaker gave me access to power for the first time since at that point in the 4 years I'd owned the bike. So I finally had a power source up front because I really didn't want to run a USB port up here and have it sticking out somewhere where I plug something into. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just wasn't my cup of tea. And so when I got the speaker, I immediately bought a mount and went out. And honestly, I was at a Harley dealership. I saw this in the Harley dealership, put my phone in it, yanked around on it some, did other stuff, and was like, you know what, I think that'll work. Then came home and found it on Amazon. Got it a little bit cheaper than what I would have paid at the Harley dealership. So that's how we got it. That's how we ended up here. Now, fast forward into early 2021, specifically right around when St. Patrick's Day is. That was when me, Juan, David, and David's wife, Desi, all decided that it would be a cool idea to spend St. Patrick's Day in Key West, and we should ride there. So the 4 of us climbed on our bikes and we rode to Key West. We did it in 2 days from Charlotte, so that was about 500 miles a day because it's almost 1,000 miles from where my driveway is to mile marker 0, right, at the end of US 1 in Key West. So we spent the night in the northern part of Florida, woke up the next morning, got on the road to go down through the middle of Florida. We had all agreed on the way down and on the way back that we wanted to stay off interstates and kind of stick to back roads. So day 2 starts with me leading right around sunrise. And I'm in front. So I'm in this position. Juan's in the second position. Desi's right behind me. David's behind Juan. So that's kind of how we're grouped, right? And there's 4 of us riding in a pack. I'm doing my job as the leader, which is nothing more than navigating and setting the speed, setting the pace. So I hit the pace that I want to set the cruise control. Their job is to pay attention to me and keep up. So I'm in the first position, Juan's second, Desi's third, David's fourth. We're riding down the middle of Florida because we had decided we weren't going to ride on interstates. We're cruising down the middle of Florida. It's early in the morning. We're on a state or U.S. highway. So speed's pretty, I mean, it's pretty good. I think speed limit on that road was 70 miles an hour. So that means we had it set at 80. And at the time I had this, I had the speaker, and the handlebars. That's it. Everything else. The windshield wasn't here. The mount for my camera wasn't here. So the only way I could have a camera on was if I wore it on I was wearing the half at the time. The only way I could have a camera on was to put it on a chest mount that I would do from time to time. But it meant I'd have to stop the whole pack, get off, put the damn thing on, hit record, and get back on and take off again. And it was morning, it was early, light was horrible, and I'm like, you know what, I don't need to put the camera on. Let's just roll, you know? And so we're cruising down the road. I've got the cruise control set at about 80, and I see down this road, maybe 200-300 yards up the road. In the very center, it was one lane going one way, one lane going the other, and there was no median or anything, just a white line in the middle, or a yellow line in the middle. There's a deer carcass laying in the middle of the road. And on that deer carcass is approximately, I'm not exaggerating, approximately 12 buzzards. Now, when I got about 150 yards from that deer carcass, half the buzzards took off. And that was cool. Great. As I keep closing distance, though, and I've not changed the cruise control, as I keep closing distance, I realize the other 6 really aren't taken off yet. Could be bad for me. So I duck my head as I get close enough to it that I realize something's probably going to happen. I ducked my head so the top of my head was pointing forward, so that if I got hit with something, it would hit the half helmet instead of hitting me in the face. And as I'm ducking my head, in my eyesight, I see the last buzzard take off. And he takes off, he goes airborne, and I literally watch him come up. He gets about right here when I hit him. I hit him at 80 miles an hour, and he was a full-grown buzzard. He hit here, hit my phone, hit me in the chest, landed in my lap. I flipped him down on the ground and kept running. I never undid the cruise control. The next place we had where we could pull over and stop, we stopped because I needed a minute. And you know, if you've watched any of the cross-country videos, you'll know, or the California trip videos, you'll know that chocolate milk is what I like to have when I'm trying to de-stress, or just, you know, if I want something comforting, I'm going to drink a glass of chocolate milk. So I needed to pull in and get a glass of chocolate milk after that one. When I pulled in, because it was only about a half a mile down the road where we stopped, I pulled in. As I'm getting off the bike, Juan is like, dude, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. He had already come up beside me while we were riding and asked for a thumbs up, and I gave him one. So he knew I wasn't injured or anything, that everything was okay. But I wanted to stop, check the bike, and, you know, because after the fact, you start remembering the details of what happens when it's going down. It's like, I think this is where it hit. I think, you know, that kind of stupid shit. You're thinking things instead of remembering things. And so Juan's like, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm fine. And Desi's asking me, because keep in mind, I'm here. Juan was here when we were riding and it happened. Desi was directly behind me. Desi's like, why are you asking him if he's okay? And Juan's like, a buzzard hit him in the chest. And Desi's like, oh. She said, I thought he ran over it, because from her perspective, from her vantage point, directly behind me, it just looked like the buzzard popped up from underneath my rear wheel and saddlebag. So she figured I ran over it. David is there by now, because we all pulled in together. David's there by now, and his statement was, I didn't know what the hell happened. I just saw a buzzard bouncing down the road beside me. So buzzard hit this. He hit my phone hard enough to move this mount. He actually changed the angle I've got it here. The mount was actually, this line here was over here. So, I mean, he moved it down in that ball joint in there that's tightened. It's pretty tight. This guy right here got hit by a buzzard, a full-grown buzzard at 80 miles an hour, held on to the phone. Phone wasn't damaged. This wasn't damaged at all. It just, I put it back where it was originally set up at, shoved the phone back in it after drinking my chocolate milk, plugged it in, took off, we were back on the road. So I cannot speak highly enough about this mount. I really can't. I don't know anybody, I've never met anybody else that's been hit by a full-grown buzzard or a full-grown bird, something airborne that's heavy, that has mass. I don't know anyone that's been hit with one of those. So, you know, I recommend this guy. I can't speak highly enough of it. Now, with that said, in the moment when that buzzard hit me, the very first thought that went through my mind was, am I still upright? Am I alive? Juan has told me on more than one occasion, he's like, I was surprised you were able to keep the bike up when it happened. He's like, I really thought you were going to lay the bike down when I saw what happened. And so, you know, I'm thankful for that, of course, but that was my very first thought was, okay, I'm still up. I'm alive. I'm not injured. Let's get someplace to get a glass of chocolate milk. That was my first thought. My very second thought, though, was, and when I say second thought, I'm talking like milliseconds later, why the hell wasn't my camera on me and running at the time? Because the buzzard would have hit me right where the camera mount is. That would have been a perfect YouTube video. Perfect YouTube video. It would have been one of those ones that just, you know, I guarantee you if someone throws a video out there that says, I got hit by a buzzard, and the thumbnail is the buzzard's face looking directly into the lens of the camera right at the moment of impact, people are going to click on it. So that was my very second thought. But this guy's good. I can't speak highly enough of him. David now is running the same thing on his bike. He bought it when we were on our California trip after his other one failed. When Juan figured out that it was user error on his end, he kept his. And so he's still running with his, and it's working fine. So hopefully you've, this review has been helpful. This thing does allow you to adjust it for multiple widths and then lock it in. So it's like a vice grip. And these little tongues here are angled in to kind of go over the sides of the phone to hold it like you're holding it with your hand instead of, like laying it in your palm is a good way of putting it. So yeah, if you like the video, I hope you're digging the channel. If you do, please subscribe. Click the notification bell so you know when new stuff's coming out. So funny thing, real quick, because this was pretty hilarious. We went to Dublin to see the Dropkick Murphys in concert. For those of you that don't know who the Dropkick Murphys are, look them up. If you like, like hard rock, kind of a / hard rock, maybe punk kind of feel. If you like that kind of music, try out the Dropkick Murphys. If you've ever seen the movie The Departed with Leonardo DiCaprio in it, you've heard the Dropkick Murphys because they are the song that plays at the opening of that movie. In fact, that movie was one of the things that made them more mainstream and a bigger act. But they've got great music. In any case, we're sitting down in this arena in Dublin, Ireland, and literally in the 2 seats in front of me, the row right in front of me, there is a guy and his fiance. Both of them are from, they were in Ireland for a couple of weeks from the US. They happen to live about an hour and a half from me. Sitting next to him was a dude that is Irish, and him and his buddies and father all ride sport bikes. They race them. And we got to talking. And he has the YouTube channel now. So if you're watching this, didn't get your name, maybe comment and leave your name so that I can refer to you by name the next time I, relay this story. But I was talking to him, told him about the channel, and so hopefully he's watching it. But it was kind of funny that two people right in front of me were literally, we had flown halfway across we've thrown across the Atlantic, and there were two people there that, live an hour and a half away from all of us. So I thought that was pretty cool. In any case, shout out to him. Don't remember your name. Sorry. Shout out to the guy that rides the R1. I'll just call him that for now until I find out what his name is. But there you go. That's my review on this. I will see you guys in the next one. And always, ride safe.